Good evening, everyone from London, or good afternoon, good morning for another part of the world. I am so excited today as we have Caroline Mitchell joining us for our Monday Spiritual Awakening Live. Caroline, who is also known as the original Dragon Lady. And let me tell you, I'm fascinated with dragons. I actually have the original, I don't know if you can see, Dragon Path Oracle cards, which is the first cards deck I ever bought not Hampshire, Stonehenge, which was, they were actually the only deck available in the shop where I went to the spiritual shop near Stonehenge. And I just felt...
Was it Stonehenge or Avebury? Was it actually Stonehenge? Or was it Avebury?
It might have been Avebury. I've been in two on the same date, on the same day. So it might have been Avebury, yes. Yes, similar sides to me, very, very mystical. And it just goes very well with those mystical creatures, the dragons. But Caroline, would you mind telling our viewers a little about you and your spiritual awakening, since it's a spiritual awakening series?
Yeah, so I guess I've always had that sort of nuance, I'm a fourth generation psychic. But I think my sort of real, I suppose you call it awakening or whatever you want to call it, was when I was probably 5 years old, and it was the night my grandfather died. So it's 40 odd years ago, 49 years ago, something like that. 49 years ago. 49 years ago next week, actually, because he died on Yule, I think. And I came down. Okay, he died on a Sunday evening, and my parents were out, and I came downstairs. They came in, and I came downstairs, and I looked around the banisters and said, "My granddad's died." And apparently, I turned around, and walked back to bed, and grandfather had died. And the upshot of that was that I was then deaf for a year. I went completely deaf.
Oh, wow.
So whether that was because clairaudience had kicked in, or what, we don't know. The doctors put it down to some kind of grief. I was very close to my grandfather. So, but I think there's a bigger reason behind that. I think there was something of a shock of probably hearing him say goodbye or visiting me or whatever took place. I don't remember.
Yes.
And it was just that within 48 hours, I was actually completely deaf for a year.
Fascinating story. Yes, as young children, young children are incapable of articulating those experiences. So it might well be to deal with a shock of the discovery of spiritual gifts, for that example. That's a story. And you live in the UK. Is it in Hampshire, if I remember correctly?
I'm sort of pretty central Hampshire, so I'm easy access to London, Stonehenge. I'm not far from Stonehenge. I'm smack between Stonehenge and Avebury, actually. So I'm really lucky.
That's a really beautiful part of the UK. I visited earlier this year, and was really impressed with the sites. And as I said, got my card. And we will be talking about that too. But first of all, let me ask you, we know that everyone has a guardian angel. Does everyone has a guardian dragon of any kind?
Apparently so. Now, according to the dragons, everyone has a guardian dragon, whether or not we're aware of it. Those who are aware of them have probably been with dragons in the previous life, or other dragons in the previous life. The thing with the guardian dragons is that they've actually been with us from our very first incarnation. So whether it's been here on Earth or in a different dimension, galaxy, universe, or whatever, our guardian dragon has been with us from the very, very beginning. So they know us better than we know ourselves. They'll know our soul purpose. They'll know why we're here. They'll know what lessons we have to learn. They'll know if there's any karma involved. They know the whole shooting match, and their job, apart from looking after us, they're also act as a really good guide, and they'll sort of help. Because they'll never take over our free will, but they will help steer us, or I call it getting us dragon slap. Actually, you're going to slap around the back of the head because you're not paying attention to your path if you have your dragon guardian with you.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like they are a bit more forceful than angels. Similar.
Oh yes. The way I look at it is that you have dragons come banging when you've ignored the tap of the angels.
So you cannot miss it.
Yeah, you can't. And what's really interesting is that you don't. When the dragons call it the angel season. I don't know why they call it the angel season, but they do. When the angel season started, 25 years ago, that I'm aware of. So we had the likes of Doreen Virtue, Diana Cooper, all of those guys came onto the scene, about a quarter of a century ago or thereabouts. The angels were the forerunners to the dragons, and they came in to help us to get our acts together, to do what we came to do. And as we all know, angels are incredibly, they're very gentle, they're very reassuring. Unless occasionally Michael might give you a bit of a poke, but overall, generally, and this is very generally speaking, the angels are actually much calmer, much quieter, much gentler beings.
Yes.
Whereas the dragons are much more direct. There's a whole reason why the dragons are here. Actually, there's a whole story connected to why the dragons are here. Actually, and that was through the angels.
Wow. Wow. Okay, but back to you. How did your story, did your journey with the dragons started?
Oh yes.
Because it started somewhere a few years ago.
Yeah, it actually started in the early 2000s, so about 2003-ish. I was actually heading up a Mind, Body, Spirit magazine at the time called One Source, and I'd seen these amazing coloured bottles at a Mind, Body, Spirit show. I was absolutely intrigued, so I got the lady's details and sent my friend of mine who was working with me down to interview this lady called Moira. She now lives she lived in Portsmouth at the time. She now lives in Canada. And so I sent my friend off to go and interview Moira. And she came back absolutely raving about these colour bottles and dragons. And it's like, really? The upshot of it all was that Karani then went on to do the colour mirrors training. Now I've still got some of them here. I've actually most of my colour mirror system I've actually passed on to somebody else. But what I have, that's White Dragon. Hang on, bear with me. I've got to find that.
Oh yes, we want to see it.
So after much badgering by Karani, I then went on to do my colour. I think I did colour 1 and 2 as it was then. I didn't do any more than that. Certainly colour 1, if not colour 1 and 2. Anyway, on the first 2 days, was 2-day training for level 1, and we had to choose a bottle to work with, and we had to have, because the other bottles around, these are actually sprays, and we had to choose a spray to work with as well. And you can see there's no names on them, there's no labels on them or anything, and we had to go by what we were drawn to. And beautifully lit room, and the colours were just amazing. And so I thought, oh, what do I like? And I was immediately drawn to this one. And I took it out and showed Moira and the rest of the group. There's about 12 of us. And she thought, oh, you've chosen Black Dragon. Well, he could have dropped me with a stone. It's like, oh, bloody dragons. What is it with dragons? I just don't get the dragons. Anyway, so I spent the 2 days working with Black Dragon. And the rest is history from that point of view. So, well, to a point, I was sort of I like the sprays, the spritzers, and I like the colour mirror system. Didn't do too much more with dragons. I sort of parked it. I was aware enough to know that there had to be something in it, but I just didn't know how or where. And so I was open-minded enough to just see what evolved. Then the big kick came during my Reiki 1 attunement in 2005, and that's when I had the whole shebang come in. So that was about probably over a 15 or 18 month period. I had about 48 dragons come in. But during my Reiki 1, there's a gaggle that were flying overhead. And it's probably the biggest download of my life.
Wow.
And they gave me my life's work. The first point of which was to create a set of oracle cards. And I just ate, slept, and drank dragons from there on in, really, for, solidly for about probably 2 years or maybe more. So yeah, you've got the deck there. You've got the original deck there, haven't you?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
since then they've grown up and they've been recreated to these. So, but that's another. We can go on to that in a minute.
Another beautiful deck. Yes. So from not knowing anything about dragons to 2 intense years of working with dragons and downloads and your life work, you are now the original dragon lady. So you've committed to dragons.
Yeah, that's their name for them, for me, not mine. That was given to me about 3 years ago. A friend kept getting this dragon coming, saying, "Tell her she's the original dragon lady. She's got to use the original dragon lady." No, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I wouldn't take it. It's like, no, I can't prove that for a fact. As a fact, I don't know. But apparently it was the name that they kept on until I accepted it. They wouldn't leave my friend alone.
Very persistent, as we said. Yes.
Yeah.
And still so unknown. I feel connected to dragons myself, and I believe I have dragon as my spirit guide. But out of my circle, I think I'm the only one who admits to knowing and connecting with dragons. So why is that? Are you here to raise awareness of dragons and bring dragons to all of us, like we have?
Think that's probably part of it. I just follow the steps that are laid out before me. Dragons have been around in the pagan world for a very, very long time, probably forever, from a pagan point of view. So there's always there's that element, that dragon element, which I didn't know about until really much more recently. So it's called dragon magic within the pagan world. So my job is just to share what I know and what they give me. Their instructions were create the cards, teach, create a healing modality, and create some essences. They were the 4 things they gave me. I did 2 of the 4. I started with the essences, and they scared the pants off me because they were incredibly powerful. There's so many healing modalities out there anyway. I didn't feel the need for it. And actually, since then, other people have gone on and created the healing modalities, and somebody's gone on and done the essences. So she's like, whew, I'm off the hook. Well, maybe. I have a feeling that they will come back and bite me with that at a later date. But also the cards are very healing as well, because the cards are very much about working with our shadow side and getting to the root of what's going on for us, habits and whatever. They'll open. They have a saying that they can open the door, but only we can fly. And they talk about our gilded cage. So the card, the deck themselves is actually very healing in many respects, and it doesn't it doesn't pull any punches. They are incredibly direct.
Yes, and that's I personally find it really powerful too. So if anyone needs an encouragement, I can provide one. Amazing tool. I really enjoy working for myself with this particular deck. And that brings me to paying compliments to your illustrator. Because if you look, I don't know, I show few cards for those who have no idea what they look like, but just have a look at the beauty of, I don't know how well we can see it here, but have a look at the beauty of those drawings, those images. And that's And that's one thing, to talk to dragons or have downloads from dragons. And then the second thing is to actually come up with images. So how did you find your illustrator, and how
Ah,
did he manage to tell him or her to provide you with those beautiful images?
oh my God, that was a bit of a saga. The dragons had been on at me probably for about 2013 to get on with the deck, and for a variety of reasons it wasn't possible. Anyway, I was having dinner with some friends, and I was sort of lamenting that they want this work doing. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. So I need an illustrator. I need to get the cards printed. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go to. I'd hit a wall completely. And my friend's husband said, "Oh, that's actually really easy. If you go here, 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 and do this, 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 and this, you can do it." And I went, "I have no idea what you're talking about. You're talking technology, and it's a foreign language to me. I have no idea." So bless him. He then spent the next 6 weeks on a Monday night coming over, showing me websites, helping me get proposals written on where to go for printing, all this kind of thing. And so we went through all these steps over a series of weeks. And then once people started, sort of illustrators started stepping forward, we was then sifting through who was appropriate and who wasn't appropriate. Anyway, I'd settled on a chap in Serbia, and I really loved his work. Wasn't totally 100% that he would be able to channel the dragons, but I could work with that. That wasn't a problem. And so anyway, so I contacted him and agreed everything, but I didn't send the contract. This came to Friday night, and I didn't send the contract. I thought, actually, I'll do it on Monday morning. And the dragon said, "No, you won't. We're not working with him." And it's like, oh, here we go. And so we had a bit of a Barney, me and the dragons. And I thought, well, Sodger, he's the best of the bunch. And I'll send the contract on Monday morning. I'll finalise everything on Monday morning, and I'll go with him. Monday morning, I opened my emails. He'd pulled out. And the dragon said, "We told you.
Persistent.
He is the wrong artist for us." So at that point, I threw a complete hissy fit and told them to sod off and find the right artist and not come back until they've got one, basically. At that point, I was really cross. And
did you do the job?
Then about 24 hours or so later, Tiris landed in my inbox. And it's like, it's a great artwork. But it's like, I don't know, I'm not convinced. And they said, "That is our artist. That's who we want to work with." So then I was like, "Are you sure?" I'm not convinced. And they were absolutely adamant. This is the artist who will create us. There is no one else. Okay, so we had the conversation. And what was even more incredible was the fact he was an hour up the road.
No, that's so amazing. So you could literally have a coffee and discuss all the ideas and visions.
Yeah, we did an awful lot over Skype, but we could actually get together. We had a couple of lunches. We could get together, talk about just get the feel of each other. Well, you've seen the results for yourself, and he's been absolutely phenomenal to work with. We're still in touch. We still see each other when we can. He came down to the launch when we did the second launch we did the relaunch in Avebury in October with Watkins. He was there for part of that. No, we're still in touch.
So he was the same artist who did the second.
It's exactly the same. They're the same. It's the same deck.
Oh, they're the same deck. Okay.
It's the same. It's just been repackaged and rebranded, and the book's been updated. That was called That Made Me Work. So they're the same images. They've been renumbered, and I'll just show you very quickly. So they've been renumbered. I think
in this original one there were 33 dragons.
Yeah, there's still 33.
33, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So what you've got is what they've done is they've put the names have gone along the bottom now.
Oh
They've
yes,
taken the
the
border
imagery
off.
is the same. It's just the layout, and yes.
Yeah. It's just, and what we felt was that the border was enclosing the dragons. They needed to have wings, and they couldn't spread their wings fully with the border that's on the original deck. So we've taken the border off and put there, and they've been split into clans here as well. So each there's a different color band at the bottom. Let's just find them all for each clan. So there's 4 clans in the deck, and
Caroline, is it a complete number of dragons? 33.
is that the complete number? No.
Yes. No.
That's only for the deck.
Okay. Oh, just checking.
No, the dragons are as infinite as the stars. So there's millions of them. There's probably more dragons than there are people.
So we should be in good. I mean, outnumbered, but if there is best interest in Dragon's Heart, then we should be good. That's beautiful, and this is really a work of art. I feel the names of where I download, I bet dragons' names.
The names weren't, because dragons tend not to use names. I think they think we have a very it's a very odd preoccupation that we have, having to have names and labels for everything. So when they first came in, they because I got to know them through a color vibration, or my introduction was through color. They came in on dual colors. So for me, they were like the pink and green dragon, or the blue and red dragon, or the whatever. And the messages came in. They had to have a feeling. Then eventually, it morphed into not just being their colors or their dual colors. They would eventually come into having a title because of what their work was about. So initially, there was things like joy and all kinds of other. I think I found them the other day, and magic and manifestation was actually what was it? Magic and
manifestation. Yes, I know.
That's who's in the deck now, but initially there was something different. There were manifestation and abundance initially.
Oh, okay.
And then they so over that period they morphed. So when I came to, because I wrote these profiles during 2005, 6, and 7, and then I had to revisit them all for the deck. So I wanted 44 cards. And they said there's 33. So we had this whole thing again of me and the dragons disagreeing. And as is their way, they will have their way. And it's 33. It's 33 cards.
So it's a 33. Yes. While we are talking about colors and how you receive the dragons with through colors, we have a question from a viewer who's exploring golden dragons.
Okay.
Do you have any insights for the viewer? Unfortunately, I can't see the name because the Facebook blocks the name for some reason. But do you have any insight for a person exploring golden dragons?
It was really interesting. I was teaching last night. So I do all my teachings online because my work's global. I do nearly everything online, and COVID, of course.
Of course.
So we were talking last night about silver and gold dragons, because there's one of the girls had a pair of dragons come in that's silver or platinum and gold, silver and gold. Now there's very likely to be a wave of golden dragons, but if where you've got the golden silver or platinum dragon together, they tend to weave. And they're to do with sort of upgrading DNA. They're to do with new chakra colors. They're to do with deep healing. Again, shadow stuff once more. So they're to do with that kind of thing. So don't be surprised if actually that gold dragon is actually part of a golden ray of dragons coming in. So it could very likely be something like, it could be just a one-off, but my feeling is there's probably another wave coming. So they're coming in waves. The most recent one that I'm aware of was the Dragons of Light, and they're Lemurian. Some people see them as the rainbow dragons, but I see them as the color of they're called the Dragons of Light, and I see them as being pure white. So but they do coming in. There's definitely frequency shifts going on. Of course, you just had the 1212 portal. We're coming up to yours. There's a big shifts going on around that whole thing. So
new dragons are joining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there'll probably be more dragons to come through that are on a higher frequency.
Mm-hmm. And how about brown or black dragons? Are they lower frequency, or is it just a different?
No, the darker dragons, like the browns, the blacks, the very dark blues, the greys, are probably guardians, because the colours of dragons are actually completely immaterial. I get a lot asked. I get asked, "Oh, I've got a green dragon, or I've got a pink and green dragon, or I've got a whatever dragon." And you know what? It doesn't mean a damn thing. What does it mean to you? So where was I going with that? I completely lost my thread now. Oh God!
Oh, we were talking about the meaning of the dark dragon.
So the colours actually don't. They don't have like a particular theme to the colours. The ones that are the only ones that seem to have a theme to them are the guardians, and they come as either very deep blues, blacks, greys, that kind of thing, and they seem to be our guardian dragons.
Yeah, that confirms, because my dragon appeared to me as a brown dragon, and I believe it's my guardian dragon. So thank you. And what is our dragon power, if I may ask that question?
What's our dragon power? I don't understand the question fully. So,
of course. So when because we are connected to dragons, they look after us. Do we have the dragon power within us, which we can somehow activate when we find that guardian dragon or connect with them? Is there such thing?
Yes, I think probably. See, because the dragons are big on healing and healing that shadow. See, the dragons can't abide love and light. It really annoys them.
Okay.
Because it goes into love and light, potentially. I'm not saying all the time, but potentially love and light goes into spiritual bypassing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So then you bypass feelings, emotions, and all that kind of stuff. All right. So if you want your power is, and you want to feel that dragon power, it's to do your inner work, to do your healing, and actually love and accept you, warts and all. Yeah, okay, you might be having a rubbish day. Yeah, you might have shouted at your kids. You might have had a row with the old man. Whatever it is, they're about accepting your human traits. They're about loving yourself, but also about putting yourself first, because you cannot give, as a very good friend of mine says, from an empty cup.
So true.
And that is your dragon power, is honoring yourself, including the parts of you that you like to shy from, hide from, and pretend actually don't exist.
The shadows, yes, which we are often ashamed of. Very often people get ashamed of the faults, all sorts of addictions, all sorts of faults, which of course we all have.
And it's about learning. It's about learning from those things. It's about growing from those things, because your best growth comes from your hardest times.
Yes.
As don't go into blame, because then you go into projection and blame, and then of course it all falls apart. But if you can own it and do the work, my God, the sky's the limit. But you keep, it's a continuing journey. It doesn't ever stop.
Yes.
So that's the dragon power, because that's the power of the dragons. They urge us to be the best possible version of us we could possibly be, from a healing point of view, from a personal point of view, but also from an interpersonal relationship point of view, because we can do so much more when we get out of that judgment state, and we can be embracing with boundaries. There you go. With boundaries, I just got told.
With boundaries, very good correction from the dragons. I could see almost that sort of tail giving you a little notch. But that's a powerful message, actually, and I think so correct for the times as well, when we live in times of anxiety and stresses, and of no doubt there will be days which are not so good, and we might have that additional chocolate, and feel guilty for that, or not, or just say, this is just my whatever, and I'm good with it. I'm working on the best version of myself, and that's the most important thing. So I
Absolutely.
personally really relate to this message, and I embrace my dragon, and enjoy the journey with my dragon and that gorgeous deck of cards. So thank you very much. If I may, just to wrap up, bring another request actually from our viewer, who is very interested to hear if dragons would say something to us, if that is relevant.
Oh, okay. As in a message for whoever's on.
Yes, for
Oh
here and
dear.
now.
Do you really want to hear it?
Let's go for
Okay.
it.
Who have I got with me? I think I've probably got I think it might be Maudwin. Because you're going to get a finger wag, and you're going to get probably a bit of a dragon slap. Only you have control of your life. Only you are the master of your destiny. You, oh god, goosebumpy. You hold the tiller. What the hell's a tiller? Anyway, you, whatever it is, you hold it. Sometimes you boats. Sorry, I digress. I'm sorry. You steer your journey, nobody else. You want change, be the change. It will not be and cannot be done for you.
Mm-hmm.
The power that you require, that you desire, is within you. Do the work. Okay. There we go. That was from, I think, Maudwin.
That was a good message, and you sounded quite scary for a moment there.
Yeah, that was really powerful. That was incredibly powerful.
I guess we needed to hear it here on live, and for those who will watch it on replay, that is the message. And as we know from Caroline, you don't mess around with dragons. They usually get their ways. So I would listen.
Yeah, they can be gentle and they can be encouraging, but if you're going to dally around the edges, they're not interested. And then that's when the dragon slap comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just clear off. They just disappear. They go, right, okay, you don't want to listen, then fine. You know, they are incredibly, they have massive, massive compassion for mankind. Huge.
Gives me goosebumps. So there must have been one of you were present. But we are also having comments here that's so very peaceful. So people actually are feeling at peace at the moment. So here we go. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you.
On behalf of Spiritual Awakening Circle and everyone who's watching now and on replay, thank you so much. It was absolute joy and pleasure to have you with us and to learn more about those mystical creatures called the dragons. And I'll put information about your workshops and any information you would like to pass to our viewers in the comment section. So, so I know you do some workshops, and obviously the book is coming out.
Well, we hope so. It's with my publisher at the moment, so whether or not they like it enough to take it forward, it's never a foregone just because you've got a deck out that they'll take it. You know, so it's with the publishers. I'm waiting to hear. No, so the cards obviously, you know, they're available on Amazon, so you could put a link up on there. That'd be amazing. They're released. They're released in Australia. I don't know because you're global, aren't you? So they're released in Australia and New Zealand on January the 15th. They're released in French in April 2021, and then they'll be released in South Africa at some point during January as well, 2021, I believe. So yeah. So, and just to put a link to my work, a link to my website would be cool, because I'm probably not going to be teaching next year. If I do, I'll be doing webinars, which will be available to download on my website. But actual I won't be doing very much teaching next year. I'm not planning to at the moment anyway. I've been told no. So I tend to do as I'm told these days by them.
Maybe you need some rest. It sounds like it was an intense time.
It's
So
been very
I
intense.
will definitely put all the contact information so people can connect with you, and we hope to have you back at some point.
I shall look forward to it. Thank you very much for asking me.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Caroline.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.